Senator Graham. Is he racist or not? Two short clips. We're going to go to clip number one, Dave. He's on the Senate floor, and he's talking about poverty in his state, and he mentions African Americans. Let's listen closely. Clip number one.
If you don't live in Nebraska, here's what's coming your way. Your state is going to be required to cover more people under Medicaid because the eligibility, I think, goes up to 133% above poverty, which is an increase over the current system. So throughout the nation, there are going to be thousands of more people enrolled into Medicaid. And every state except one is going to have to come up with matching money. I have 12% unemployment in South Carolina. My state's on its knees. I have 31% African-American population in South Carolina. How did they get the 60th vote? It was the weekend before Christmas, and they were one vote short. Well, here's what they did to get that one vote.
All right.
First of all, put on a suit on the Senate floor, for crying out loud. Take off your stupid, freaking Republican country club khakis and wear a suit like a man. Okay, go on.
All right. Getting past that, racist or not racist?
Well, I mean, look, I had a long conversation about this last night, and we've talked about it before, the Ali G word. Like, he's definitely being racialist,
right.
Which means sort of using race to make a point, and perhaps using race in a fairly hostile way to make a point. Using race to hurt somebody is racialist. It doesn't make you a racist. I mean, Strom Thurmond was a racist. Jesse Helms was a racist. The world is filled with racists. That guy in whatever that county commissioner you were talking about in the
North Carolina,
regular
right.
show in North Carolina, that guy sounds like a racist. Lindsey Graham has not given me any indication of that, other than he's an elected Republican from South Carolina, and that I'm not even kidding. To get elected as a Republican in South Carolina, you have to throw your arm around a lot of people who just don't trust, like, or think poorly of black people. Mm-hmm. Even if they're no longer Jim Crow racists, they don't know, we can't lynch them. That's a crime, and I'll punish you for that crime, right? But they're not. I don't want to hang out with them. They're dirty.
No. I sometimes let them use my bathroom.
I sometimes let them use my bathroom.
Right,
That's right.
To go to the old Louisiana story.
Right. But that said, and also, when you're in South Carolina, you got to be conscious of that. As my impression, without being, I left South Carolina in 1998. Lindsey Graham was not yet elected to the Senate yet. But my impression of him is that on those issues, while voting wrong every single time, he certainly does not use that kind of language in any way. In fact, he makes a point to stay away from that kind of language.
Yeah, look, I've never thought Lindsey Graham was a racist before. I don't think this statement gets to the level of quote-unquote racist, but he's clearly saying there, look, you got to understand what kind of trouble we're in. We got a lot of blacks in our state.
Yeah.
And they're obviously poor, right? And the thing is, blacks on average are at a lower socioeconomic status. Putting it that way is not the best way to go
Also,
about it.
what this debate is inevitably going to turn into in health care is at least some, as the Republicans en masse don't support health care, is saying, hey, all you people who support health care as we get near 2010, understand who this health care legislation is for. It's for people who take advantage of the system. Look at JR. It's for him and his people. They're going to use it. They don't work. They live off the government dole. They're not like us. We're hardworking Americans. You want to pay for them to get health care? Okay, but that's what it's about.
Now, that's a very good point.
And that's ridiculously divisive. That's exactly what we're trying to get away from.
And he's feeding into that. So
he's
now,
feeding into that, right.
Right, and so, but this was just one statement, and when it happened, we didn't even cover it on the show because I didn't think it was that big a deal, right? But he said it again, and so that I found interesting. So let's go to clip number 2. This is from the Today Show.
Do you agree then with the chairman of your party, that Michael Steele, that basically the Democrats are flipping the bird at the American people?
Well, here's what I think our Democratic colleagues want. They want a bill no matter what's in it. To get the 60th vote, they dragged Ben Nelson into a room, not on C-SPAN to negotiate. We don't even know where the room was at. And they cut a deal with him saying, we're going to expand Medicaid to cover more Americans in a government-run health care, but when it comes to Nebraska, the federal government will pick up your share. Now, my state, with 30% African-American citizens, a lot of low-income people in South Carolina, it's going to cost my state $1 billion. That's the same old stuff that I object to.
You go so far as to calling
we can believe in. That's sleazy.
All right, you know what? It is. I don't know if he's a racist. That's racialist. I mean, because it couldn't be more clear there. There he's explaining the point. They cut a deal with South Carolina, cut a deal with Nebraska to get Ben Nelson as the 60th vote. They didn't cut a deal with anybody else. By the way, that is sleazy, but that's how politics works.
You're right.
The sleazy point is unquestionably right. And Republicans would never do something like that. No, man, that's how it works. That's happened 1,000 times. That's exactly.
Right.
When you're
with Republicans and Democrats.
When you're vote 51, or in this case, vote 60, when you're the vote that's needed, yeah, you're going to get stuff. That's partly why you hold out. So he got stuff for Nebraska. He can go back home and say, look what I got for Nebraska. I did this. I'm giving you health care, but I protected our state from financial ruin. So Ben Nelson made a good deal for him politically. There's no question about that. Bad for the country, good for Ben Nelson. But when Lindsey Graham is saying, he doesn't say, look, all the other states are going to have to pay for this deal to get Ben Nelson. He doesn't talk about the number of people on Medicaid, or how many people are going to be on Medicaid, or what it's going to cost the state, or what it means to South Carolina, or the percentage of poor people in South Carolina. He draws a flat dividing line. White people, black people. That's who Ben Nelson, that's who this Democratic bill cost, was what Ben Nelson cost the rest of the country. We're going to have to pay for those blacks. Those people are going to have to get Medicaid. Those people are going to cost you, who work for a living, money.
So let me ask you a different question. Do you think, maybe I'm giving Lindsey Graham way too much credit here, right? Because he's been a guy that is sometimes,
especially about foreign affairs, foreign relations, about how to handle the war. Mm-hmm. He was among the very few thoughtful Republicans.
Yeah, and it's from time to time he's as loathsome as the rest of them, and from time to time he's at least thoughtful. Thoughtful is a good word.
Seems to really care about the law.
Right, and sometimes he does, and sometimes he doesn't. Yeah. But he was one of the few guys who tweaked Bush a little bit, more so than some Democrats.
He seems interested for a time in us not torturing people.
Yes, for a time.
Yeah, for a time. Yeah.
So that's why I cut him a little bit of slack. So that's my next question is, do you think he meant it, or do you think he's just saying that instinctually, or do you think he thought, you know what, I'll send a message to the voters of South Carolina, I'm on your side, and this is how this thing plays out?
Since there's no record of it, other than I have an instant distrust, and I'm not kidding, of any Republican elected official in South Carolina, just by the nature of who you have to put your arms around in order to get elected and be a Republican. That said, they're certainly not all racist, not by a long shot. Part of it's just, if you're first of all, you're going to succeed in politics in South Carolina, you best be a Republican. I don't know, and I kind of like Lindsey Graham. There are things I like about him, because he shows a slight independent streak, and he's a real loyal Republican. Mm-hmm. But he seems thoughtful, and about certain issues he really cared about, and he seemed to put politics aside. So I don't know. That was bad. He drew a dividing line. I don't know whether he meant to. I don't know Lindsey Graham personally, but he better explain it. Mm-hmm. I'll give him that. I'll withhold judgment until he explains.
Let me ask JR real quick. JR, any sense of it from those clips as to whether he meant it or didn't mean it? Whether it was really bad or just a little bad? Did he slip up? What's your thoughts?
Well, that's the thing. I think it gives a window into his mindset. I don't think he blatantly walks around and says, oh, black person about to rob me. Maybe he does, but we can't get that from him, right? Because, you can get the blatant thing that someone just has this disdain for another race and they're lower than me. I think somewhere in his mind, he doesn't realize it because he's so mad. His whole brain is right now that how Ben Nelson just got this for Nebraska and is screwing the rest of the country. You guys know I have 33% black people in my country. You know what black people do? Black people are poor. It's like that's a fact to him. Okay, he doesn't really. Yeah.
And what bothers me more is that look, if you point to socioeconomic factors, et cetera, I get it, right? To him, it was black people equals poor people.
Exactly.
That's the problem, right? And he could have just said poor, but he didn't say
there are a lot of poor white folk. There are tons of poor black people in South Carolina.
And there's tons of poor white people in South Carolina, so he didn't have to go there. Him equating that is what bothers me.
It's not what bothers me. What bothers me is the subtle dividing line about who's going to get this, what this is for.
Oh, right, where it's going, right? See, because if that's intentional, that's much worse.
And also, if that's intentional.
Because that's the kind of thing Rush Limbaugh does.
If it's intentional, get ready. This is just the tip of that iceberg for we go through the holidays. They got to get in the conference. Republicans got to try and talk somebody out of voting against this bill, or at the very least show that they're the party against this big giant expansion, and they'll do it politically by dividing us along racial lines. That is what they do.
I know. And the final thought on this is that if in the best case scenario he didn't mean it, it's pretty thoughtless for a guy who's supposed to be thoughtful.